harbour, Sovereign Harbour. Down there, if I zoom in, is I suppose you call it an old galleon ship, sailing ship. I think it's 500 years old. Well, it's a replica of a 500-year-old ship. So I thought I'd come down here this morning. It's quite pleasant, and have a little walk, take a few shots before it gets busy. So I'm going to do a walk around the whole harbour and just snap some shots. There's the lifeboat, Eastbourne lifeboat. There's a man climbing ropes. As nice as it is, can you hear that wind? It's howling between the buildings. That's literally howling between the balconies, I think. Which is pretty mad. Beast. Oh, it's like Tower Bridge, but smaller. Yeah, this is the bridge that, in the harbour, one of many actually, that seem to be open and closing regularly every 5, 10, 15 minutes. And yeah, it was obviously letting boats through that were going out for the day. There's the last view of the ship as I was sort of leaving. I headed up to Beachy Head as sort of on the way home. Just thought I might as well have a little drive up there. And the ocean was absolutely lovely. You see how clear and blue it was looking. It was absolutely lovely. And yeah, unfortunately the wind had got up quite a lot. So yeah, it was quite gusty. Probably 30 miles an hour, 35 miles an hour. So no more drone flying really. And you know, even though the drone can fly 25 miles an hour quite happily, you end up with buffeting, so your footage isn't always that smooth at that sort of higher wind rate. Being, you know, the Mini 4 Pro is quite light. So anyway, I headed home. Anyway, here is some of the photos that I took. So this is quite cool. So a modern fishing boat, a catamaran, was wider than the old ship there. So it was quite interesting to sort of see, just watching other boats go out and everything for the day, different ones. It's quite cool. I'm not into boats at all, but at the same time, they were quite interesting and they do look quite graceful when they're pottering around. But you can see there, look at that. The size is almost, well, as wide, if not slightly wider, the fishing boat. Obviously not quite as tall, but yeah, quite amazing how that was a large ship in the day. But it's sort of 500 years ago, I suppose. So yeah, I'd imagine that thing's got a diesel engine of some sort as well. So anyway, all these shots are taken with the RX-10 Mark IV, a little bit of tweaking here or there, and you know, pushing the sensor a little bit in certain situations like this one where I've sort of pulled the shadows up a bit. And unfortunately, you can see a little bit of green haze there up on the crow nest. This is taken from about 200 meters away or so, zoomed in. But it was quite cool, sat there between the buildings. Here's a dehancer filter of one of the film emulations. Just thought it looks quite cool, and you know, Even though the buildings are relatively modern, it looked quite cool. So that's how far away I was for the boat. In fact, actually, when I took it, it was a little bit further back, even more walking over a footbridge. The lifeboat from Eastbourne. So yeah, that was. I didn't realise it was actually kept in the harbour. I thought it was kept on the outside of the harbour, or had seen it outside before. That thing was quite a beast, and obviously quite a large private yacht. I have no idea how much it costs to keep your boat in a place like this per month or per year. I'd imagine it's not cheap. That's the exit. So you come through the locks and you go out on the estuary, and then you go past the sea walls there, and you've got lots of other flats and apartments or whatever. Here's an old Martello Tower, which has got radio gear and stuff in it, I imagine, for the Coast Guard and police and things like that. And again, I tried a dehancer filter on it just to maybe give it more of a classic look. It works quite well. As you can see, these are the full images. They're not cropped in, so you can see the black lines either side of the images. So I was shooting ISO 320. That's the actual exit through there, and the dehancer filter added again. I can't remember which film I used on there, but there's a little bit of damage as well up the top there in the sky, a bit scratching and stuff, which is quite cool because it can add a little bit of interest to your photos. Looking back through the lock and back into the harbour, there with the actual, I think it's the harbour master bit there on the right hand side. Sun was still lowish in the sky, so I could actually shoot up and manage to get a shot through here, a bit of a silhouette shot there. Again, I pushed the sensor, and if you highlighted the shadows and everything a lot, you saw a bit of green haze, so I took it back down the other way. The English coastal path. I didn't know it was a thing, but apparently it is. The yellow buildings look quite cool, quite interesting. Very industrial, though, in some respects. The spiral staircases up on the left and the right as well. And all the lights were on. It's like 8 o'clock in the morning. For some reason, all of the street lights were still on. Don't really know why, but it kind of added to the photo. Managed to get a shot there. Two seagulls flying past, looking up at the building there. Obviously, we are limited to 24mm, which is the widest angle view. Same as this one here. Difficult to get perspective right on some shots, but then it adds a bit of quirkiness, doesn't it, sometimes? So rules are there to be broken. You can't always get it 100% perfect unless you want to start just distorting images and stuff in Photoshop, etc., etc. We don't have a tilt shift lens on there, so it is what it is. Back of the ship there, and I took a few detailed shots, but I think they work quite well in black and white because they're just, the sky wasn't that great, but also it just looked a little bit more interesting. Make it look a bit older or whatever. You can still see that dot there on the right hand side, which I haven't edited out, but speck of dust inside the camera, sadly, which can stay there at the end of the day because it's going to cost too much to get it looked at, and it still works. There's nothing really wrong with it. It's just unfortunate when it's a light area like now you can't see it. The ropes there going up the side of the ship, just a little bit of texture, a little bit of triangular kind of like shape going on. One of the ropes coming out the side or the back of the ship there. It's quite interesting seeing the metal bits that are, around the donut as such, to obviously give it strength. Fishing boat coming out in black and white. I just thought, just go black and white, just have a little bit of a change. So sometimes it's worth experimenting with your editing and just processing, and just, again, Sofina, the boat there, catamaran, fishing boat, pretty much as wide as the old ship there. So it's quite interesting to see. And the bridge going down, which then it stopped like that for about a minute before it carried on going down again. So I don't know what it was doing, but there's loads of people trying to go to work, as you can see here, walking across. So yeah, just a few shots there. It's quite nice to sort of do a little bit of street photography as such every now and again. People just doing their thing. And then East Sussex 1. I'm not sure what the boat is, but I just thought it was quite nice with all the the masts in the background with all the other boats, and then I think it's pampas grass, isn't it? The bit there, and then when it pops up to Beachy Head, there down to Berlin Gap, there was a jackdaw there, which was quite cool. And then yeah, that was a case of looking out to sea, which was quite pleasant. You can see there the water was lovely and clear, and very blue, which was quite nice to see for once, as when it can be a bit rough, it can be very grey and miserable and just not that pretty. Right out to sea, a long way out. I think there's some kind of either a trawler or a boat that does the scrapes the stuff off the bottom of the ocean there. And then just one more shot, which is the yellow flowers and everything at the foreground, and then just looking down the beach there to the cliffs and everything of the Seven Sisters. So yeah, not a bad morning. And then I headed off back home and spent the rest of the day. But getting up early sometimes really is worthwhile. And I thought I'm not going to see that ship again probably, and it was just quite nice to be able to see one and sort of see how big or how small it was. And yeah, it was interesting. And yeah, so it was just kind of cool, something a bit different. Have you seen it? If you let me know if you're in the UK and you see it go around. I think it's heading to Scarborough. It was in Kent today, which was the 26th. I think it went round to Ramsgate, 26th of June 2025. So yeah, not sure where it's going from there, but I think it was going to Scarborough. And then I don't know where it's going after that, but apparently you could pay €600 and go on it for the trip. So yeah, an expensive little experience, but probably quite cool. Anyway, thanks for watching. Hope you have a good week, and please click the subscribe button, little notification bell as well. Let me know what you've been up to, if you've got an RX10 Mark IV or any other cameras that you're using. I'll see you soon. Ciao.